Hey guys, we are going to be starting to write our first full essay. And I know that sounds kind of scary, but don't panic. We're going to go through this slowly. And as long as you pay attention, you should be perfectly fine. So make sure that you follow along with everything and you'll be absolutely fine. I'm going to get rid of my face so that way you can see the power that I'm going to share. I'm going to start by introducing the formula that we're going to use to write everything for this class, at least all the essays. It's called Am-Teacher-Rec. And I know that sounds a little like terrible and like maybe a complicated disease, but it's really not. It's actually a formula that helps make sure we have all the right stuff to have a solid essay. Whenever we write either to analyze and evaluate. So we're still focusing on argumentative writing. So we're going to be focusing on analyzing an argument, and we're going to start by learning how to do that with an introduction. So the first part about learning how to write an essay is we need to learn what the word analyze and evaluate means. Analyze and evaluate are generally things that you probably hear in a science class, but we analyze in English all the time. So just like in science, when we analyze, we break down parts of a text and then we figure out how they relate to one another. That's what we're going to do. We're going to look at texts and break them into smaller pieces to see how they function. Next, we're going to evaluate, which means we're going to judge how well a text does something. We're going to judge the text's values of the ideas, evidence, and claims. Okay, now we're just going to focus on the introduction part. So the A-N-T of our formula. So first things first is the A. The A stands for attention getter. You've probably heard it called a hook before. And a hook is basically where you're just grabbing the reader's attention. You can do that by asking a rhetorical question, which is a question that's not really going to be answered. You can put a relevant quote from an outside source or even from the text. You can add a fact or a statistic. If you're going to do that, it needs to be something interesting or shocking. Also, you can discuss how you initially responded to the text, especially if it shocked you or significantly changed your opinion. And the last thing you can do is share some shocking or amusing generalizations. A generalization is just a fun way to say stereotype. The next thing that we're going to talk about is the N. That's the necessary information. So we've had the reader's attention. Now we need to give them the good background information. So what do they need to know about the essay you're writing about? Always explain your essay like the reader hasn't read any of the text that we're discussing. Even though we've read it and I've read it, the person reading your paper, you have to pretend like they haven't. So then that's the brief background. Then you're going to include 2 to 3 sentence summary of the text that you're going to be working with. For this essay, we're going to we've been reading several texts. So if you're going to focus on just one, that's okay. So you're going to give the summary for that story or that text. However, if you're going to use more than one text for evidence, give a summary about the topic of justice and forgiveness. This might be a different kind. You might talk about the different kinds of justice or discuss what it takes to give forgiveness. All right, the last part of our formula. This leads us to that third and final component, the T. T stands for thesis statement. This is literally the most important sentence in your entire essay because it's the roadmap that you're going to use to map out the rest of your writing. Since we're just starting out, I'm going to give you the formula for your thesis statement. This is just until you're comfortable with writing them. So you're going to use this formula down here. Because then you're going to give reason number 1, reason number 2, and reason number 3, and then you're going to write your claim. Claim might be a new word for you, but it's simply the position you're taking on the topic. So whether or not you believe justice and forgiveness can go hand in hand. The reasons are the support for your claim. All right, that wraps it up for the introduction. The A is the attention getter, N is necessary information, and T is the thesis statement. Next, you have a second video to watch where I'm going to give you an example of how you can write an outline introduction for your paper. See you soon.